But you guys never
Whoa.
did help me with my Survivor podcast dilemma.
Wait, you have a Survivor podcast dilemma?
Oh, yeah. Can she listen to the episodes, or does she have to go
Okay,
back?
because I'm on season 6 of Survivor, but Jeff Probst has a podcast, but he didn't start
JP.
making his podcast until season 44, and he talks through the episodes that are airing.
Okay, so what is the dilemma?
I am on season 6, and you guys say that I can't just like skip ahead and watch season 44.
Correct.
No.
But I want to listen to the podcast, because the other option is to wait 12 years till I catch up.
That doesn't seem like an option.
Is he worth waiting for? Is that how you
I
say
mean-
it? Is he worth waiting for?
I don't know what that means. I'm jumping ahead.
Okay. Wait. Jumping ahead in watching it, in watching the show?
That is the only. What other jumping ahead is there?
I thought you meant. I don't know what I thought you meant.
It just couldn't be that for
Hey,
sure.
did you know what I meant?
Now we know.
Alright, it's out on the table.
Okay, here we go. It's all laid out.
Welcome to the Fragile Podcast, where we're learning how to embrace our humanity, and sometimes that means reality TV.
It's fragile today, folks.
I'm Jessica,
I'm April.
I'm Sarah.
and today we're talking about politics, which kind of goes along with Survivor.
Why?
Does it?
Because it's the game of social politics.
Oh, we were just having this conversation.
Yeah.
It actually is
You
true.
were having a conversation without me?
Well, you
We
can drive
drove
over
together.
here with us.
Oh, that's true. It's on me.
Yeah, that's your fault.
Okay,
But
so
really, we are talking about politics, and unfortunately, there will not be a lot of Survivor talk or Jeff Probst, but that should be like a whole other episode.
Oh, there
Put a
you
pin in
go.
it.
we're not
We could do
having
a
an
whole
episode
episode
about
on
Jeff
each of
Probst
our,
celebrity crushes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we each have our own reality TV fix. Mine is Survivor, obviously.
Guilty pleasure.
Whoa.
I
Are we
feel
getting
zero
this
guilt.
vulnerable already?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like mine is the Real Housewives, but only
Oh,
Beverly
man.
Hills. I'm only loyal to the girls.
Are you
in
ready
Beverly Hills.
to get this out in the open?
No judgment. Please. This is a
It's-
safe space.
It's all judgment.
Yeah, there will be judge.
Do not judge me.
Lots of
Okay.
judging.
Podcast
Just
is-
say it. You might as well say it.
It's the Kardashians. I have to say it.
And we likely will have a whole separate episode. Oh, I'm still kind of attached to my chair, but I think this goes there. About our reality
just gonna
TV
see how
fixes. But
far
really,
you
for
can do it.
today, we are here to talk about politics.
Politics.
So, politics, what do you think about politics? What does politics mean to you?
Really? Like not in? Like, is that true? You just like a total aversion to
I
it.
do. I think because it's
What do you mean by
so-
that? Politicians or like voting or government?
I think all of it. It just sounds so. I just have a very divisive context in my mind when I hear it. Like there's just no space for middle
Welcome
ground
to
or
America.
questions or. Yeah, that's fair.
Within the context of like other people, sure, but like you personally,
I
just
think I am in a place where I am embracing it more.
Embracing
idea-
politics more.
like learning,
learning
more,
about it,
being more
more-
politically involved, all of that.
Being more open, not so divisive in my own.
Like
mind,
I think
guess.
this one way, and that's the only way to think, and anybody that
Yeah.
doesn't think it is wrong.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably a healthy place to be.
I would imagine so.
What do you
job.
think?
Look at me being healthy and something. Never would have
Politics.
thought it was politics.
Like what do I think of when I hear the word?
Yeah, or like what does that mean to you?
Well, my politics have for sure been shaped by America and my background growing up in Christianity. So it means I don't even know how to put it into words what it actually means to me.
you wanna put it in
I
a song?
definitely have. Their songs have
You
words.
an interpretive dance.
You mean? Oh,
Yeah.
there we go. You
Or
can
just hum
interpret
it.
But I was gonna actually, but I'm not. I think I have mixed feelings. And the question isn't about my feelings about it, though. It's like, what does it mean to
It's
me?
okay. You can embrace your feelings. You need that.
Follow that feeling vein. Go ahead.
It's too many things. I don't know how to say
Okay, that's fine.
what it means in one.
Well,
answer.
let's maybe to clarify. How did you used to think about politics? Because you said you've changed. So you changed because before you thought what?
I think growing up, I had a very specific idea of what politics were, and they were shaped by my Christian school upbringing and how America has been founded and shaped, and what government means, and like the role that government should play in our lives. Then there was like a period of time where I was totally against, like, it was like, this is all ridiculous. Christians don't need to worry about that kind of stuff. And now I think I've changed my mind again where...
What? That's too many.
I know.
You only
a lot of
get
mind
one.
changes.
You get one change and that's it.
Then this is not going to go well because I have lots of mind changes. But I think right now I would say that I think it's important for us to recognize that it should matter to us, but
Politics
it should
or being politically active.
both. Like
Using our political influence.
yes, but it should not be the cart that's driving the horse. So I think
Put a pin in
that's
that. We'll get back to that.
okay. Then
Circle
move on.
back.
Move on.
Well,
we'll circle back.
Tune in later to find out what the horse really is.
I didn't even know I was on a cart.
Oh my
That's how politics are for you.
Got on this cart and I don't even know how.
Get me off! Get me off! And it's a car that's driving the horses behind you.
So much is happening.
I do so little of this puzzle when we are actually talking. I feel like I'm just like
about done, and we don't have another one waiting.
no, and then I pick another piece.
Sarah, what about you? Did you? I'm hesitant to ask you.
What about
Did you have thoughts about politics before that you don't have now?
Yeah, I think I definitely grew up with a very conservative mindset. And so I was definitely in that camp, and anybody who was not in that camp was...
What camp? The camp of the Republicans?
Oh, are we saying?
Yeah.
definitely.
We should,
Okay.
you know, to lay some groundwork. We all come from a very politically and religiously conservative background. And we've all definitely shifted somewhat from, or maybe even, depending on who you ask, drastically so from that.
Fell down that slippery slope fast.
You were on a cart. It wasn't your fault.
That's why it was so fast.
Careening down the hill.
Oh, God.
Well, yeah, it's like growing up, not even even well into adulthood, it was like if you were a Christian, you were also a Republican, you were also conservative in your political values. You would never vote for someone who wasn't a
environmentalism was
or-
a dirty word.
Yeah.
Oh, I will talk about that.
That's a different topic for a different time.
Write that down,
Okay.
Katie. Write that down.
She's writing it down.
Anyway,
Yeah, I think there was just I didn't even considering other viewpoints. Mm-hmm. It was like it's just assumed. Like I grew up in this conservative Christian circle, so of course I'm going to be a conservative Republican, and just that's it.
yeah.
So obviously we've all shifted from there to some extent, you know, some more than others or whatever. I don't know, maybe even all the same. But what
I
are...
don't even know how you guys vote. Do you vote?
Yeah, maybe we should talk about that.
Yes,
Hey, let's do
I
that.
vote.
Let's talk about politics.
Oh, we should make that a podcast episode.
What are some questions that you asked that have shifted your perspective regarding politics?
I think one question I started asking was, is it possible for both sides of the party to be wrong and right?
You mean both parties or like
Yeah,
for
both
different
parties.
people? Yeah.
That,
So like for a Democrat and a Republican.
pet names for them.
like literal bets.
Republicans.
Oh my goodness.
Republican. This would immediately lighten all political discussion.
I'm crying. Anyway,
Oh, man.
okay, wait. So back to what we were saying though. That's a good point to talk about. Is that like you didn't think there was a world in which both
There was no in between.
Yeah.
there's no in between, and that's
Yeah.
I don't think that's necessarily specific to our very conservative Christian upbringing. I think that's specific to America. We have created a world, a country in which there are only two options. And if you are not one of those two options, then you are wrong. And not just wrong, but evil.
But it's also to consider how things came to be that way because it was
Yes.
not always that way.
Correct.
And who is largely at fault? It's the Christians.
That's true. That's unfortunately true. That's and we could go into like the whole history of it.
That
but-
is actual
That's
historical.
literal.
Oh no,
Yeah.
it's documented.
Yeah.
The driving of the political divide. But anyway, that's maybe not. Put a pin in that one too. We're gonna have lots of pins. I hope you have a big board. So
board too?
Just
where
so
are you
you
gonna put
know,
pins in?
she's currently speaking in metaphor. I'm just pointing that out.
I said we did not have to do away with all metaphor.
Okay, we'll come back to that.
We
We'll
can talk
put
about
a
that.
pin in that too.
We didn't talk about it on the literary devices episode.
Okay.
So we didn't actually answer the question of what, or no, you did sort of like, but what questions are you asking? So your question was, is there a middle ground? Like, is that even a thing? Is that possible?
Not even middle ground, but just can both parties be right about some things and wrong about some things? Like, there doesn't even need to be like, I guess when I hear middle ground, I think like there's another party that views things from both sides, but just, is it possible for one to not be the hero and the other one to be the enemy?
Is it possible that we might have gotten some things wrong? Yeah. What about you, Star? What are some questions?
I think something that has been helpful to me is ask what people are afraid of, because I think when you isolate, and I'm talking specifically about Christians, who I think are largely to blame for this, like kind of like black and white, like good
least the initial
versus
divide.
evil divide. I think when you get down to the bottom of what people are afraid of, then it reveals what their idols are, or what matters most to them, and that was really enlightening for me. And so I think that was probably a main question that I asked for a long time. What are people afraid of? And that was just like super enlightening for me to actually watch that.
Because
be
that really,
answered.
fear drives so much.
Yes.
So much of what you do, so much of what you
Yes.
prioritize.
Yes.
So as Christians, how can we shape our political beliefs in a healthy way and in a way that acknowledges our humanity, but because political ideas or political actions don't just affect us, it's also acknowledging the humanity of everybody around us. You know, people that think differently, people that are affected by our political decisions. What is a healthy way to shape these beliefs, these driving forces when it comes to American politics?
I think one main way is to know your history, to know the actual history. Like, where did this start? How did it evolve? One thing that I would really encourage Christians to research is the formation of the moral majority. And that's just one small thing, but there's nothing hidden. Like, people were not hiding their agenda, their pursuit, their goals in this. And so I think, like, if you want to shape your own views in a healthy way, you have to know where you're wrong.
There's nothing hidden in history, but definitely certain cultures hide
Oh,
history.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think you have to search it outside of a Christian perspective.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think you have to search it outside of a very narrow conservative Christian
Yeah, that's what I mean.
culture.
I think you have to search it outside you have to.
Better.
Wow,
You
we're
have-
good at this
we
whole
got
like
there.
brainstorming and free writing.
She had it
stuff.
from the beginning.
I think you have to know.
We just slowed her down.
That's true. I'm just always just waiting for you guys to like get there.
No, work it out. It's okay. It's okay.
Well, thank you for being patient with us.
You're welcome. No, I think it's important to know what is actually true, and
Does
not.
that start, if we're talking forming beliefs as a Christian, that obviously has to start with the Bible too. Like, you can't form accurate American political beliefs unless your beliefs about what the Bible says are.
Sure.
How
I mean, there
do
are
you think,
Christians
or is
who,
it-
who fully believe that when they see a verse like, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, etc., then I'll heal their land. There are Christians who for sure believe that is written to America. And because of that shapes what they do with that. You know, that it wasn't written to America. America didn't exist, and it was written to a different people in a different time for a totally different context. And that stuff matters because when you start taking the Bible and using it to prove that what you think about our current culture matters the most, you're mostly going to be wrong. I think I would say you're always going to be wrong. That's pretty.
Do you think they would argue though that the principle still stands, even though if the actual, if that wasn't written to America, does the principle still stand of if a country largely, embraces a belief in God and a pursuit of moral biblical principles, then that country will be blessed? Or do you feel like that's not?
No, I think because you can look at Psalms and then if you want to take that one literally too, you see that God says he sends his blessing on the just and the unjust. So like he's the one who turns the king's head. He's the one who is in charge of all that. And there's no way you could go through history unless you were very much proof texting. There's no way you could go through
People
history.
don't do that.
Do people know what that is?
Proof texting?
Can you explain that?
I guess. I don't know. Sure. Yeah, proof texting is just when you have already an idea or an opinion formed and you are searching through a text, whether that's the Bible or any text, to prove that what you already think is correct. You can do that with hundreds of verses in the Bible to make them seem like, or you can do that with history. You can pick
it's not
parts
limited
of
to the
history
Bible.
out, or pick parts of what our founding fathers in America have said, and
Pick parts
prove
of the
that what you
Constitution.
think about America is true. But you have to see it as a whole. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
kind of what I was getting at, is that the founding or the fundamental principles, if those are off, for a Christian, if the fundamental principles you believe to be true about the Bible are off, then they're likely your political ideas are going to be misguided.
They're going to
if
have-
you're
yes.
trying to shape your political ideas in light of your version of Christianity.
Absolutely.
So that's why.
But I think it can't be one or the other. It has to be both. It has to be both. You have to be willing to say, I might have some romanticized or even just outright false ideas or beliefs or opinions about the history of America. Same for what I believe, Second Chronicles is telling me, or First Chronicles, wherever that verse is, or, And I think that's where it has to start. You have to be willing to approach these topics without a previously held agenda, without proof texting.
So then, what matters most in shaping your personal political ideas? What matters most to you?
To me personally,
Yeah.
what matters most to me is what matters always most to me, and that's what's actually true. What's actually true, because I think that's the only stable jumping off point.
So if you have already established, for yourself, what is true about, fundamental biblical principles and then about American history, how does that shape your current political ideas or choices?
Are you saying that down because I'm not doing anything with it right now?
No, because they needed to go there, but it's already there.
Say the question one more time.
man.
How does it shape my ideas about
Yeah,
my
if you've already
current
established,
choices?
what's true, then how has that shaped your current ideas and political choices?
Well, for one thing, I don't think that there's ever, as far as history, yes, we can grab enough context so that we understand cold, hard
actually,
facts
can I
about
go
what is
back
true.
and clarify that?
Yeah.
And say what to you is true. So it's true that the Bible was not written to America. Right, and then it's true that American history is not super great, and it's typically romanticized. So because of that, your political ideas are.
I think the only answer I can give is that they are evolving as I continue to learn.
Could you say anything specific? Because of what you've learned,
I now know that true Christian values don't say things like America first or America best. I know that true Christian values are concerned with the global welfare. I know that community rights and the welfare of community should matter more than my own personal rights. I know that for a Christian, there is never a time when my rights should matter at all.
Do you feel
more than the community?
Is it possible to, some people would say, that in order for America to be more globally minded, we have to be strong. A weak person cannot help another weak person.
Sure.
There has to be an element of strength there. So
Sure.
how does that work?
Well, there has to be a balance, right? Between, let me just use another example to illustrate. So if a person has a lot of familial security or monetary wealth or whatever, it's one thing to hoard all of that. I'm keeping my family to myself and keeping them safe, and I'm keeping all my money to myself, and I'm keeping, and I'm building walls around everything, and I'm keeping us all inside this protected kingdom that I've built for myself. Is having a strong family bad? No. Is having monetary wealth bad? No. But if I hoard it all for myself and my goal is to make me better and stronger, and if it comes at the expense of other people, then to me that's where it butts up against Christian values. I don't think
Do you
it can
think
come
that's
at the
some of the
expense.
gray area there is where some people would say, America is wealthy, it has wealth, and we should use that to the betterment of the global community, where other people would say, we need help here.
I think both
that-
things can be true. I think it's true
Do you think
that
that's
there
a
are people
major
here.
disconnect? Is that where most people disagree?
That both things can be true?
Yeah, that America has wealth.
Yes and no.
Because some people say, no, not enough. Some people say America is wealthy enough, we need to help others. And some people, would say we need to keep
what
making
we
ourselves
have.
stronger.
I just think both things can be true.
But generally in politics, people will lean one way or the other.
Yeah, but I don't think that's the major. I think it is
It's not a major point of
disconnect.
division?
I think it is a point of division.
What
I don't
would
know
you-
that there is one major point of division. I do know that as far as I'm concerned, like from my Christian background and my tremendous burden that I carry for American Christians specifically, that we have become like Old Testament Israel in so many ways. We are materialistic. We don't care about the poor. We ignore the marginalized. We allow oppression where it shouldn't be allowed. And it is at the expense of, like, we say that it's justified. Well, actually, we would never say it's justified. But ultimately, what we believe is it's justified because we're making America better, or because my family is safer, or because that means we have more resources, or whatever.
Do you think people have that mindset because they think this is America? If you really want something, you can get it. Like, this is a free country.
Sure.
You have the ability, you have the opportunities. But a lot of the times, that's just not true.
No, it's a lie of meritocracy. And there's so much evidence that meritocracy is a lie, that we've just like sucked in hook, line, and sinker this American dream that's accessible to anyone. And it's easy for us to take these very small exceptions to that and make them the rule. You know, that's probably another topic for another time. But I think there are like lots of points in this that all make division worse.
Yeah, because it is an incredibly complex subject,
so
and unfortunately,
complex.
there is no way to just really boil it down to like, this is the problem.
No,
And if
no.
we could just fix this, then
Yeah.
Although if people would just be nicer, I feel like that would fix a lot.
People would just be nicer.
But I think that's also part
problem
of the
solved.
problem is that there's no right
no nice people.
way. Well, that's true.
Well, I think that there are multiple right ways.
But there's not one specific path, like this is it, here's the answer. If we just did this, or if we just thought this would solve everything. And that's just...
Yeah, probably. In light of the ideas that you have formed, how does that shape what you actually do? Like, how do you live out those ideas on a practical level?
This is always a weird question for me to answer. I don't know if, like, what are you asking specifically?
Like, how do you vote differently? What organizations
okay.
do you support now? What
Okay.
ideas do you teach your kids differently? Or what matters more to you now because of these ideas? Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah. So I would you want to answer that?
Or
You can
do
answer
you
that
vote?
first, because I've done a lot of talking on this one, so.
No.
All right.
No, give me a second to think about it. So you answer if you already have to.
Do we have like the Jeopardy music on cue?
I thought you were gonna start humming it. I was just like waiting for you to hum it. I would say it changes the way I vote in that I'm not voting for a party to have control. I am also not voting in a way that ensures that Christians have power.
Or safety necessarily.
no, or
Although I feel
safety.
like that's even an extreme idea because it's not like Christians are not safe.
No, that's also another lie.
It's weird how those ideas still pop up so easily. This idea of like Christians in America are not safe.
Right.
But we are though, just in case you were concerned.
Ridiculous.
We're good. We're good.
Yeah, I would say that probably the biggest way it's changed for me, sorry if I cut you off.
You totally did.
Okay, well, it's fresh in my mind, so I'm saying it.
All right, go ahead.
The biggest thing is I just am not viewing all of this or voting from a place of fear anymore. I feel like I can just be relaxed. I can see things from different perspectives. I'm not so afraid like if this doesn't happen, if this person isn't in office, then we are doomed forever. It's just not that way for me.
Yeah, I remember being at like an outing or a dinner or something with a bunch of ladies the night of an election. I think it was Hillary Clinton when she was running, and one person was like obsessively refreshing their
Yes.
phone, so concerned
I remember
if
that.
she
I was at that
won,
same dinner with you.
Yeah, that it was just gonna like that was it. That was the
it.
end of everything,
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah.
Well, do you remember when Barack Obama got voted in? I heard from multiple people that he was the Antichrist.
Yeah.
You know, that, that's it. We'll never have another election again, you know? And
Yeah.
there's so much fear involved in all of that. And one thing I was going to say, too, the way my vote has changed is that I want what's best for the community as a whole instead of what's best for me and my family right here, right now. I want what's best for the community, what's best for the world, and sometimes that means, I think in our country we just have limited options for good people to vote for. So sometimes it means I don't vote because I can't. I can't vote.
So that brings up a good question: is when voting, do you always stick with your personal convictions, or is it because a lot of people would say you're going to vote for, the better of two evils or whatever, the end, they're voting for an end result rather than voting for in line with their personal beliefs. What do you guys think about that?
That one's still hard. I don't know. I am still asking questions about it. I don't have an answer for that. I will say that I vote more now for like state things, city things.
More local?
Yes, more local things than I ever have. So I don't know if that really answers questions, but I don't know. I'm a little unclear about that.
I think for me, the only thing that I can control is my own conscience, my own, I don't remember how you exactly put it. So that's what matters the most to me. So if I cannot vote in a way that upholds that, then I'll refrain from that specific vote. And I don't believe in the lesser of two evils lie either. And that's another whole topic that we could go into, but that's...
Is that a logical fallacy? Sounds like
yes, it is. Yes, it is.
For me, I think one of the most impactful things that I have actually changed is listening to people that think differently than me. Like Sarah, like you were saying at the beginning, that it was just not at all a thing where somebody else that thinks not like you could possibly even be right.
It's not even that it's not a thing. It's that it's harmful.
Yes.
Or like
it's
evil.
Demonized.
Or yes.
So that just saying like, what if I just listen to them? What if I just ask a question? And obviously, people that would demonize that would do the whole slippery slope thing. Well, here we are.
Well,
I hopped on that cart a long time ago.
That cart has...
it's going right down that hill.
Yeah.
But really though, for me that it really, and I think for anybody, if you just allow yourself to listen to other people, there are so many good, sincere people that really do love America and love God that have different ideas from you, and that's okay. And you
What
have
if they
things to
didn't
learn.
love God and they still
It's
had
still okay.
good ideas?
Still allowed.
Nope, not a thing.
That's
Can't
a
happen.
whole other slope.
No, but I think headed into an election season, that matters. It matters all the time. But with the vitriol, like the sheer hatred and anger that gets spewed, and I'm talking about Christians during an election season, especially these last
Which is
couple
obviously not
election
just
seasons.
Christians,
It
but
is
that's
not.
who we specifically are talking
It is not,
to.
right. But that's where, it's so, I think that's why it matters so much. It matters all the time, but right now, when you know that the political climate is going to be so angry and afraid and defensive and
it's worth
hateful.
considering if that is your preferred political climate, or
Yes.
your
Yes.
that's where your proximity is in that kind of political climate.
Right.
That's worth examining. How Christ-like is that?
And I'm talking about, like, even if you personally would say, well, I'm not hateful, I don't spew hatred, and I'm not like, slamming people on social media or whatever. But if the media, if the
If that's
news
what you're
that you listen,
intaking, if that's what your
Yes.
influx of information, not just information, but that the vibe, whatever, that's
Yeah.
your constant intake, it affects
yes. Who was it? What's the girl's name? She was a Fox News person, Megan something.
Kelly?
Yes. I watched an interview with her once, and she said, somebody asked her, like, what do you wish you could tell the older viewers of your news station, of Fox News? And she said, what I wish I could tell them is that our news station makes money off of making you afraid. That's how we make our money. And I wish
That's not, and again, it's not, because I feel like I have to play both sides, but that's not just them. It's any news stations. How they all
it's
are.
anyone. Yeah, I'm not saying it's just Republicans,
Right.
but
I just feel
again,
like they have to.
we're talking about Christians because that's what we know, and that's really like they're the ones who should know better.
Yeah, we should
So-
have a higher standard.
Like, I
Yes.
think that just needs to be accepted as true. I was actually just learning about this in one of my classes in the 80s when news corporations started becoming more about entertainment because
Yep.
they realized that the entertainment industry
Or the
makes
24-hour
so much
news
more.
cycle.
Yep.
Yeah, it makes so much more money, and that introduced the 24-hour news cycle, and it
Yep.
became more about bringing in money than it did about actually just telling the news.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you just need to be aware that that is factual. That's just how it is, and
Yeah.
let that determine how you perceive news.
Yeah,
and,
I mean,
and let it inform like the choices you make as far as what you're going to intake, what you're going to say. Like, I am allowing this information, I'm allowing this attitude, this perspective. I'm choosing to input that into my, because we don't go unaffected from that.
no, but I think right now we have a lot of Christians who are justifying their anger because they say, well, we're right. And we have to be like, so it's okay that we're angry. It's okay that we listen to angry. We're passionate about what we believe
And
or
the
whatever.
ends justify the means.
Yes, yes. And that is another lie.
Lies all around.
Lies all around.
They're on the lying cart.
Oh, I'm glad to be off that
See,
cart.
I'm embracing the whole metaphor thing. Never mind, I'm good.
Now
Is
you're
it
on the metaphor cart.
Analogy? Metaphor? I get those confused.
Oh, I just learned the difference between these two, but I don't remember what it is.
It was super impactful.
It was.
Yeah.
Well, on our education episode, we can talk about effective memorization tools.
Actually, I've learned about that too.
They're doing great. They're working great.
That was one of my first classes, though. So that was over a year ago. So
Oh, okay. You can't be expected to remember.
no, that's too much pressure.
What do you feel like you still have to learn?
I want to be, it's maybe not learning, it's maybe not what I want to know, but I definitely want to be better at showing grace to Christians who see things differently than I do. If only because one time I was the same.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
So-
I think, a way that I kind of phrase that helps me is like, I want to be patient with people that were in the same place that I was. For the people that like know better and should do better and they don't, we don't need grace for them.
I think we still need grace for them. Definitely we do. But it's harder.
And the ones
It's
that
for
don't
sure
know
harder.
better, we will,
We'll give you grace. No. Ignore everything that was just said. Okay, like, everybody needs grace. And we all need to be better at giving it.
Everybody needs grace.
I'm surprised that came out of your mouth and not Jessica's.
I feel like you should be offended.
I definitely am offended. What do you feel like you still need to learn?
I feel like I am like just coming out of that side. Like I'm kind of still on the cart. I haven't quite like made it down all the way down the hill yet.
How's the analogy?
It just makes me laugh how much we're really clinging to that. Like we're gonna really.
I visualize it in my head. Drive it into the ground. Okay, I want off the cart if it's going into the ground. I still feel like I have all the things left to learn. Like I am just now starting to reshape my mind around all of this, and so I feel like I need to learn like, how do I learn about politics? From where do I learn?
And it's kind of an overwhelming place to be.
There's just so much out there and a lot of learning involved.
And it feels overwhelming because it feels like, okay, I have to change everything right now and learn all of the things. And
Especially in an
is never
election
true. That's
season,
never
because
true.
I feel like I have to do it
because you
before
feel like there's a
November.
big decision at stake.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and in a mind and a culture that stresses you have to, this is so important, and if you don't do this, then Christianity is at stake. And
Yeah.
we'll be okay, guys. We're good.
What do you feel like you still have to learn?
I think I need to learn how to implement practically some of these broader views that I've come to develop. Like I've gotten some clarity on like, okay, here's what really matters to me. It matters to me to use my political influence, however small it may be, to the benefit of the people around me. Because politics inform policy, and policy affects people. So that matters, but it can be in the same way, Sarah, like daunting, because there's just so much. So just learning how, on a practical level, how to do all of that when it's really easy for me to feel like I have to do all the things.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. On a slightly more positive note, I think that we are actually maybe one day going to finish this puzzle.
I'm
I
pretty
think
sure
it
that
might
this
be in
piece
like 10 minutes.
is the one that doesn't belong here.
You say that about
Oh, that's
I
right. You have that
think it
weird
on almost
puzzle.
every.
I know.
I wonder
you
if it's
do.
a condition. If there's a name.
Like arachnophobia. You have like
Yeah, a fear
puzzle
of
phobia.
the misplaced puzzle piece.
I really hope
Missing-
there is
missing
a
puzzle piece
condition for
phobia.
that. Would
Katie,
just be
search that.
amazing.
right.
Okay, but anyway, if you have questions about any of this, or you're asking some of the same questions that we are, let us know on
Or if you just think
Instagram.
we're kind of cool.
Yeah, you could always let us know that. if
But
you
not
think
too
we're
cool,
kinda
because that could get weird.
No, just let it come.
We'll decide.
Anyway, let us know on Instagram, YouTube,
That one.
Substack is the name of the other one. Yeah, you can comment in any of those places or send us a DM or whatever on Instagram and let us know your questions or if you have any comments or you think we're all nuts.
But be nice about it.
Be nice about it if they think we're nuts.
Yeah, like go ahead and tell us, but just, respectfully.
Oh, okay. Well, there you have it. We're almost done, guys. Look.
We can do it.
We can. We're doing it right now.
And here.
Here you go.
No, feet.
Wait. Nope.
I just
Where does this
wanted-
go?
I would
Overhead
like
camera,
you
right
to say
Oh, right
that.
Here we go.
Yes!
Oh,